to go. Apparently, we're going to start it off in the bottom right side of the map. From On-Side Gaming, this is Neeb.
How could we know if we need the admin without the admin, though? That's in the top left-hand side. It is for Alpha X, Astrea.
I think we'll be okay without the admin cast.
I think so as well.
I don't think we've needed the admin in game for like the last 4 years at DreamHack. I think we'll be okay with that one of
we
the
have
two.
backup admins. So
Yeah, it was actually just admin B as well, so it's not even the main admin.
That's incredible, yeah.
Backup admin
Multiple
is
servers admin.
being needed out.
I absolutely love it. So yeah, it's anarchy in the chat. The mods have left the building. And yeah, I mean, without the admin, I wonder if we are going to be able to play the split screen at some point, because that is an important portion of the game.
That's the observer account, surely.
Oh, I see. All right.
Here we go. Answered live.
Yeah.
Answered live, as you can
There
see
we
the
go.
players taking their probes onto the map for a wonder. No admin needed to split the screencasts.
We have done it. And yeah,
Nice.
as you can see on the screen, the players are moving their units about very quickly here, in spite of them being Protoss players and working against the stigma of them being slow. As you can see here, they are very quick to switch around, do their thing.
I thought we were just going to be like, they're not quite as slow as we expect. Don't make them out to be.
Yeah. They're very organized, yeah.
I also thought it might have been like a, you know, they have the stigma of being slow, but, you know, they can control the one probe on the map.
Yeah, I mean, it's good to watch a PvP sometimes in the split screen, because then, you know, you don't get as dizzy.
As dizzy,
Yeah.
That is
Like,
so
oh,
true.
yeah, I can follow
do
this.
feel like, I mean, this is actually true. I feel like pros players flick around less. I don't know why.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Well, I think it has to do with all the unit composition. Like, it wants to be a little bit more of a whole a lot of the time, and the spell casting as well. Like, it requires a lot of actions, but it's usually actions on the same screen, right? Like tabbing micro and whatnot. Whereas Terran relies heavily on the multitasking, the mobility of their army, a little bit more so. So, same with Zerg, right? You got Zerglings to follow around, and you gotta spread the creep and whatnot. With Protoss, it's very difficult to control a Protoss army, okay? Like, force fields and like force fields. No, I'm just kidding. Like, there's the force field disruptors, you know, like blink. Like, there's a lot that adds onto it. It makes
Bro,
it very
this is so
complicated.
hard. We can't even think of one more thing that you need to press
Guardian
the button for.
shield. No, there's a lot of button pressing, but not as much flicking, not as much as a mouse movement, I think.
Yeah, that's good. All right. What the heck's going on? We got a robo coming up from Neeb taking an extra gate as well. Astrea's just straight up adding gates and getting ready to go. Setting up at the front to warp in aggressively. And can't say this is looking too hot for Neeb, who's going to go Stalker for Stalker here. Is going to get blocked. The Adept Shade gets there. So that's very annoying. I feel like Neeb doesn't really have what he needs right now. As Astrea just going to come through the front. He does get the battery up and online, so that will help a lot. For now, at least, as Warp Gate about to finish, there was an extra gateway made in the main, and that robo needs to just get an Immortal out ASAP right now.
ASAP. I mean, this is going to be so very much needed, as Astrea is knocking on the door of Neeb here. And the additional warp pins are going to be a little bit slow, but that's okay. He has the time to spare, continuing to just add on to the damage and piling it on to the Cyber Core here at the front. A lot of shield batteries on the side of Neeb, but he doesn't really have the units. And soon enough, Astrea is going to be able to two-shot Stalkers, and that's where it gets dangerous. That's where you stop caring a little bit about the shield battery, and it gets one of the sentries there in the one-shot. That Stalker is also susceptible to a one-shot now, should Astrea find the surface area.
Yeah, this is where the Immortal is really useful. This is where the Immortal is actually exactly what you need, and this is why the Immortal is better than the Voidra in this situation too, because it's harder to shoot through the batteries to kill off an Immortal than it is a Voidra or so. So this Immortal might be able to make the difference. Second one's on the way. It does take a ping already. Obviously, with the 4-gate, you do build up very quickly into this high Stalker count, and that's what gives you the one-shot potential through the batteries as you continue to ping around. And Neeb, like I say, is desperate just to get that second Immortal out.
Yeah, Neeb has to be really careful to not overextend as Astrea continues to work here on the cybernetics core, and the force fields are available. There comes the first one, but it's not going to clip enough units here. Now it's going to go on forward and go on to the Stalkers, but that leaves the Immortals to do as much damage as they want from the side. Finally, the Cyber Core will be taken down, where DGO, as that Stalker ventures on forward to try to blow the shield off the second immortal, this next one will be successful in doing that.
Yeah, I didn't like that cast, not gonna lie. I don't think those force fields were really it at all, because I think the idea was you're gonna keep the immortals away, but they weren't kept away at all. Here's the prism, and now with micro potential, these immortals will not die, and this is absolutely a hold from Neeb. Now, Astrea's gonna start building some depth, something else that might be able to kind of get some damage done by shading by. That's a nice attempt at the immortals. The prism now being chased a little bit, and this is where I did get a little bit tricky. He loses one of them, the prism under fire, super battery pops. He will kill off a lot of stalkers though, so while this was tricky and nasty, it actually wasn't that bad. Obviously losing an immortal isn't nice, but it could have been so much worse. It looked like it could have been really bad for Neeb.
Yeah, great crisis management as well from Neeb, making that shield battery in the nick of time there, as the stalkers are gonna go for the immortal, and this is where things could turn. Astrea is looking for a shield battery. Overcharge has already been spent, but the next immortal is here, unfortunately for Astrea. He is going to have to tactile and run, and he is running out of steam quickly now.
Yeah, this is just really looking as though Neeb has got this fully under control. He wants to get this pylon, obviously. If you get rid of this pylon, then you just stop the warpins on the front door, and that just means Astrea cannot reinforce properly, and Neeb is going to take a quick, easy game number one. I mean, maybe not easy, but a quick game number one. Plays the defense, and the fact he went robo defensively was absolutely the key part of this, because so many people go like expand into Stargate, and that is truly what's weak to this, I think, because the Void Ray just doesn't really do as well as the Immortal. Once his prismatic alignment disappears, it's much easier to attack into and take some shots from. The Immortal is much more consistent. It can tank a few extra shots. And I think that makes a big difference when your opponent goes forward.
Yeah, most definitely. I mean, I think Astrea did a good job up until the force fields, right? And that was such a pivotal part of his engagement, because he only had 2 force fields. I mean, that's what he got the sentries for, is to segment the army of Neeb effectively, and they didn't do anything. So then you've just wasted 200 gas and 100 resources basically in getting something that didn't pay for itself. And yeah, the Immortals get a little bit too much damage there. So would have been good to do the opposite, to pull the Immortals forward and try to take them out. Or at least to encase, like, he could have used one force field to prevent the rest of the army from backing away, right? But yeah, unfortunate for him. And a great job from Neeb there to secure game number 1.
Yeah, I don't know if Astrea is going to play aggressively like that in the future. Feels like that got shut down quite nice. I mean, there was definitely moments, and maybe we bring it back at some point, but it definitely feels like game 2's got to have a very different approach to it, right? So me setting up for this, going to be going into Data C and readying up for map 2 of this series. Neeb with a 1-0 lead, and I guess I didn't really account for Astrea potentially being tired, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. But I mean, that should be a little bit of a wake-up call, right? Like, obviously, he is... Like, StarCraft can really warm you up fast as well, right? Like, you play one game and it's usually out of the way. Like, we've heard, for example, Raynor talk about that, right? Like, where he actually just loses the first map pretty often in a series just because he's warming up, right? He's not ready to go.
Yeah,
but,
no, I mean, that's definitely the Raynor way. Imagine Raynor just winning the series easily, man. Doesn't happen, does it? He's always making those comebacks. Happen.
Yeah, I mean, you have to, right? It's really the comeback story that he lives for, I feel like. But there's some truth to it, that you have to warm up to the series, that you have to get in the right mindset, right? Like, that's part of why players, for example, at the pro level, like, will always spam at the start of the game, right? You want to make sure that your clicks are accurate, that you're making the right boxes as intended. So you want to make sure that your hands and what you're thinking are synced, right? And if they're not, it feels bad. It's like, oh, that's a little bit bigger of a box than I intended to make. I didn't mean to grab that probe. And then you just continue to spam and you keep readjusting until you're like, okay, I am me. My body is in sync.
I am one with StarCraft.
Hells yeah.
Hells yeah. In the top right, you were saying hells yeah after that last game. It is Neeb.
And in the bottom left-hand side, he is now one with StarCraft. He is Astrea.
That's a fast probe going across the map.
It sure be. Sure do.
Proxy second gateway?
It's going to be a proxy for sure. What it is, I don't know. For Chirino, this is a Cannon Rush.
Oh, that's fun. Astrea really was kind of serious when he said he was kind of tired, huh?
Maybe so, but Cannon Rushes are, I mean, they're so difficult to come by. At the same time, I mean, I don't think Neeb plays the NA ladder that much, so maybe there's a hard punish for that. because if you play the NA ladder enough, I mean, half of the protos are going to be doing stuff like this. Astrea here with the cannon location, it's going to be pretty annoying to breach, pretty difficult for Neeb. Probably going to drop just one cannon, then cancel the pylon. A lot of time you want the pylon on the high ground, though.
You know what, Cats? This you know what this is?
What
it's just one with StarCraft. This is truly just what StarCraft is meant to be.
I really think, I mean, you know, like I was judging the TLMC maps, and I actually had a strong bias towards maps that include some cannon rushable positions like this one, that it's, you know, not super oppressive, like 3 pylons, because some of the maps and some of the map makers seem to be solving for what they consider an issue in this playstyle by just making, you know, unlimited amounts of space behind it, so you never find those super problematic 2 pylon spots, which can indeed be oppressive. But I like this sort of variety actually in StarCraft. Do I like it every game? No, but we don't see it every game, so that's okay. It's a good balance.
Yep, well, it's been a slow-going attempt to get up to the high ground here, as we're going to see Neeb just going to pop a Stargate across the map as the counter, so he will have access to his opponent's base with a Void Rays. Generally, the goal here is you can just nuke down workers and make life very difficult for them on the other side. And as we do that, we'll obviously be seeing whether he can defend at home, as the first Zelt coming out over here. First cannon's a battery in range of the mineral line, so Neeb is going to start being in some issues here. And of course, he's not really committing a lot to defend this, right? Like, he's kind of just letting it get set up, honestly.
Yeah, but there's not much that he could commit to defend. This is the thing. So it's a very uncomfortable position for Neeb. And the Stargate on the other side, of course, is a little bit of a classic as well, as Neeb also drops a Nexus. So getting ready to evacuate pretty fast here. Can Astrea be ready on his own terms to absorb the Stargate? That is the real question. So we should maybe take a look at Astrea setuping his main base.
Yeah, no, he's not. Yeah, and obviously by the time he gets I mean, it's just an Oracle as well. It wasn't even a Void Ray like I suggested it might be. Neeb loses the Zealot fight, unless he runs away in time, which he does. So he's just going to draw that Zealot away. And he's building a Nexus on the other side, so he can eventually recall. And yeah, I guess Astrea knows, as the Oracle will head into the main base, but there's nothing ready, man. Yeah,
this is not great from Astrea. Everything is mistimed. Neeb with a very strong, solid response, but not an uncommon one. I mean, this is just kind of the standard response against Cannon Rush. And Astrea, I think he had room to wiggle. His Cannon Rush wasn't particularly expensive, but taking a lot of damage there. And yeah, I mean, I would have expected the Void Ray because it has more longevity. If there's a Stalker, you know, you can actually take it on very easily. And you could kill unlimited probes, whereas you're a little bit constrained with the Oracle. But the Oracle does plenty, and it does it faster than the Void Ray ever would. So the fact that Astrea is just not ready for it with the shield battery is going to spell a little bit of a disaster for him.
I mean, the thing is now, Neeb probably could still build just a Void Ray, because he can just sit and kill the battery, then the pylon, and then he has the base, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, there's a Void Ray starting. I think it's the right call. I think there's just so much potential there, and it's so difficult for Astrea to get a Stalker count up that can be good enough against that. I mean, he's going to be on, what, 2 Stalkers in a moment? Probably has to recall them home. Neeb's just mining off a base. It's equal worker counts. And this Void Ray is about to be popping. And any Stalker you build, I mean, I guess Warp Gate, then you can warp in at home. I just don't know, man. Just not feeling it right now. It's just 2 Stalkers across the map, so 3 Stalkers total? Maybe.
They gotta be recalled, though, to welcome the Void Ray here ASAP. Is recall available? Not even. Doesn't have the energy for it. Oh, there's already 2 Stalkers here.
Yeah. Okay. He used it already as Void Ray just get pushed away, so that's defense a good turn now. The Oracle as well. He wants the Stalker. He gets one. Yeah. Nicely done. Like I say, these Stalkers aren't easily come by right now for Astrea. He's building a Twilight. Do you think we try and sneak to go straight to Blink, or do you think we sneak to a Dark Shrine?
Nah, I think Blink is the way, but it's gotta be so difficult to get there, right? So.
Yeah.
Oh my, yeah, things are looking really bad for Max. At least the Void Ray doesn't have its prismatic alignment, but his friend, his cousin does, and he is here now, so Astrea's just gonna have to hug his shield battery for the time being. A very uncomfortable position here.
Yeah, not nice. Especially as Neeb just goes into a robo. He's going to get freedom. He's going to have safety. And the only bad part of Neeb is obviously his base is in a bit of a weird place, but
Neeb already has freedom, Wardy.
Yeah, well, America.
He is in America.
Yeah.
Astrea, not in America, perhaps lacking a little bit of freedom.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
Thought he could Cannon Rush. Not on our watch.
Not on our watch. It's sad. The Cannon Rush was good. I mean, if that shield battery was just done a little bit earlier, then he doesn't take all of that damage from the Oracle, and we're looking at a very different game.
Yeah, that was just a lot of probes to lose and a lot to reset from. Immortal on the way out here, as you see. Neeb, obviously, he is warp gateless, so he kind of has to play kind of like Void Ray Immortal, and then slowly build back into a Cyber Core that can then eventually build into warp gates. So slow going for the moment. Well, Neeb
Yeah,
could have
the
actually
Cyber
already
Core as well.
rebuilt a Cyber Core.
Nice
Good.
guy.
I thought he would
Yeah.
rebuild a Cyber Core instantly.
Okay.
Kind of surprising. You know, with
Yeah,
Blink
he
coming online,
hasn't.
do we like this with Blink online? Is that good enough for Astrea to kind of fight Immortal Void Ray?
It's such a fragile situation, right? Like, I think if he can pick off a Void Ray right off the bat, or like there's so many of those little dances where you shoot all of your shots before the Void Ray outputs a lot of damage and then you back. So Neeb has to be really careful. There are going to be openings for Astrea. He's going to reveal, I mean, his number of stalkers at the very least here. Does get rid of the shields on the Immortal and is aware that the Void Rays are at the top of the map, so he's going to actually blink towards them. He's going to hunt them, try to catch them unsuspecting. I like this.
Yeah, I do like the Void Rays again, these pylons though, right? They're just like, hey,
Yeah.
free real estate, and he just needs to be careful. I think he kind of knows as well. He's off, the gateway will tell him to. Very nice information to have. Yeah, just well played by Neeb, because he's just going to get rid of this pylon and just clean up a little bit. I like it, man. Neeb's playing a cool little game. He's up a lot of supply, and as long as he's safe at home with his weirdly placed Nexus, then yeah, this is just the right thing to be doing.
It looks pretty good so far, and I mean, Immortals, they are rising in count, and that is just not good for the Stalkers, right? So that's the main thing. I do like Astrea holding this Watchtower. Let's check his vision really quick to see exactly what he can see from that, because I feel like that's a little bit important. It's not a lot, is it? There, he can see the Roa actually being chrono boosted, so he knows that there's Immortals that are going to be popping out, but he's not going to be aware of Neeb's kind of movement.
I feel like Neeb's on a bit of a timer, man, because like Astrea's going charge, and if enough charge lots get up, Neeb doesn't really have anything that's good against charge lots in like decent numbers, right? So
yeah,
as Neeb sees the Nexus, I think he knows that he's got to get going soon, and it's exactly what he's going to do.
Here he comes.
Yeah, okay. I mean, this is fine because he can just nuke this first cannon down. I don't think the battery's going to last very long, or the pylon, quite frankly.
Nope.
So it's a natural be forfeit. The Stalker's going to hit over on this side. I think Neeb just goes on the main base. It's way more important for him just to shut down the production of his opponent than the other way around.
I like the probe pool. Yeah, for sure. The probe pool is great here because the Immortals are not going to be particularly good against probes. So Astrea is doing damage still on the other side, and the Immortal will spawn potentially to its death, but maybe it'll take some Stalkers with it, as now Astrea is forced to blink on top of it, but 2 Stalkers go down in that process, leaving a counterattack with very little to work with.
What's this recall?
Yeah, I mean,
this is the worst time to recall with the Void Ray systematically aligned, right? Like, that's the last moment you want to be recalling, unfortunately. Charge is going to finish. Can we get any amount of Zealots up that really matter here, I suppose, is my question.
I mean, at this point, it's 4 Void Rays against 4 Stalkers, too, so it's an impossible choice.
Damn, Neeb. I mean, a longer game than maybe it was initially set out to be. This is not the Neeb Astrea series I thought it was going to be, Cats.
Not thus far, that's for sure. I mean, the cannon rush was good. Again, he could have stabilized it, could have been good. But yeah, unfortunately, that shield battery just being a little bit late is what did him in. And it is a very common response. A lot of the time when you get cannon rushed, the first thing that you do is you send a probe to look out for that Stargate. You want to know when it's coming, where it is, and you want to be able to account for it appropriately.
Well, inside and out, man. That's going to be the next map, and it could just be the way that Astrea ends Neeb ends this series. As Astrea, 2 different, very aggressive ways of opening. Maybe time to try and just play something longer and a bit more macro himself.
Yeah, but now you're down 0-2. So we talked about this a little bit earlier. It's very difficult to be at a 0-2 deficit against an opponent that is, at least equally matched to you, and be like, yeah, let me just win 3 games in a row. Like, let's start macroing and stuff. Like, it's very difficult to switch into that mindset, right? Like, I would wager he wants a cheap win to get him started, like a freebie, right? It's like, yeah, if I can pick a freebie, then, like, I'll start believing again. So, yeah, I would guess that he's going to do something aggressive again, something different, something funky, and see if it works.
See if it works. We'll be finding out very soon. Last game we were waiting on Astrea joining the lobby. Now we're waiting on Neeb joining the lobby. And this has got to be, if this game's like another like quick 10 minutes or something, like, and Neeb wins, this would have to be like this would just have to be like the fastest NA playoff day ever, right?
Oh yeah, yeah, by far. I mean,
Which is
if this
crazy.
game lasts just the average of the game so far, yeah.
Yeah, which is just crazy for the day of the tournament that we're at, right? Like the second last day. Usually it ain't like this in North America at this point. Usually it's like drawn out, nobody dies, everyone's playing crazy stuff.
Yeah,
So
even though we
bit
have a lot of
different.
more one-sided matchups on paper, right? Like that is usually the case. It's like the underdogs have been showing up and whatnot, but today it hasn't been the case. At least we got a really spicy match with Scarlet Trigger. I do love me a little bit, you know, like just a pinch of drama in there. And yeah, I mean, this one, it has been kind of one-sided. Astrea has looked a little bit sleepy on the camera, let's be real.
Yeah,
Right.
that's true. He definitely doesn't look. I actually think, like, at first I thought he was kind of joking about like Trigger Scarlet being quick, but now I'm like, he was dead serious. Like Trigger Scarlet was quick, and he wasn't quite like woken up maybe because he not necessarily in the play, right, but just in the. I mean, maybe in the play because stuff was a bit delayed by a few seconds last game than what it needed to be good. But I feel like you said, just in the camera, he kind of looks at it as well. And in the bottom left, looking on fire, it is Neeb.
Yeah. You can see the slow blinks sometimes, right? Like that's a little bit of a giveaway.
Yeah.
Oh, but all right. I mean, looking to bring it back. It is in the top right-hand side of the map. Maximus Angel Astrea for Alpha X. And such a wonderful person, Astrea. He was just hanging out with me while I was doing the TLMC ratings. I was doing a lot of those on stream. And he stayed there for hours, just like helping me gather my thoughts on the. I guess I would say my thoughts and then I would read his thoughts, and like,
Yeah.
most likely, yeah, it was pretty cool. So,
There's some good map stats.
some great maps. I'm really excited.
Yeah.
Yeah, can't wait
I'm
to see them
excited.
played out as you run the tournament for it.
Yeah. It's in like not next week, but the week after. Should be fun.
Yeah, it should be fun indeed. So some very good maps. Yeah, be sure to tune into Wardy's stream for that. Follow him on Twitter at Wardicio. What's actually the tag? I just say Wardicio every time.
So that's just Wadicio, but with an X instead of a Geo.
Wardixio.
Or Dixo, I guess. No EO.
Wardixio. Yeah.
Wardy kiss hug, right?
Very true. Aim high, my friends.
Aim high.
You
Yeah.
gotta aim high.
Gotta aim high if you want to make it into the TLMC playoffs.
This is very true. So we see here the split camera. Very peaceful exchange here between the players as they are just scouting each other for the time being. No blood will be drawn.
There's going to be obviously different setups. Neeb choosing not to go for the low ground gate, so Astrea going to be the the expander this time, and Neeb potentially with a bit more of an aggressive focus. So different to what we've been seeing. Let's see what Neeb does. I mean, you can just expand from here as well as Neeb. It's not like you have to just go full commitment to kill him. You can just expand later with a bit of harass. It's going to be fast attack from Astrea. Doesn't mean that Neeb's just going to have a lot of straight up units ready to go into the late warp gate from Astrea. And Neeb starts up 2 sentries, though. That is kind of the sign that he's just happy to expand himself.
Yeah, and he's gonna have a free pylon as well to work with this time around. So Astrea did the cheeky thing to drop a pylon there out on the map, right? Like to fake a proxy potentially for Neeb to not scout that pylon and freak out. But Neeb finds the pylon, and that means that's a freebie. That's $100 cash that Astrea is gonna be lacking. So that is a nice for Neeb to start as well, and it gives him a little bit of room to breathe when otherwise he would have the less economical opening, right? Like that's something. That's a buffer.
His exchange rate is crazy. 100 minerals is $100 now.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
What did you think? What did you think was more valuable?
I don't know. Actually, I guess minerals are pretty valuable.
Yeah, they look really valuable, right? Like they look difficult to harvest. Like you look at the equipment that you need to harvest those minerals. I mean, it's really not an easy task.
Yeah, I mean, you just grow a little Zerg drone and it just nibbles them.
Yeah, I mean, they have giant claws. The Zerg drone is actually gigantic.
That is true, yeah. Wow. Yeah, I'm just playing down the Zerg. Typical bias cast.
Typical, yeah. Oh, very interesting here. Dark Shrine from Neeb. You'd love to see it.
I kind of like it, Obviously, the Oracle provides detection, but that relies on the Oracle staying alive and being in the right place at the right time, or just straight up scouting the fact that this is a Dark Shrine, then Astrea can A, know what it is, and B, get a bunch of probes.
Yeah, I mean, that's perfect, right? 4 probes and the scout from the first Oracle. The second one's going to be tagged by the Phoenix, so look for Astrea to readjust and maybe head towards the natural instead. Keep his opponent guessing.
Yeah, man. Well, there's the Dark Shrine. He's going to commit to it, I guess. Yeah, like, just keep his opponent guessing, like you say, and yeah, I mean, he's still going to have a faster blink, so that's going to be nice for him, but he's down a few probes, and I mean, this is the start Astrea wanted. You got a faster expand, he's not being punished in any way. I mean, this has got to be Astrea just all smiles right now.
Yeah. This is looking good. I mean, this could be the start of a comeback here for Max, as the Oracles are just going to park to the side. Dark Shrine is done from Neeb, as our observer Niall will point to. And yeah, I mean, we should expect... I like that, Niall. That you had the right idea, Niall. I like it. Niall was just staring at the pylon that is supposed to warp in the DTs. Foresight.
That's because he doesn't want to warp in the DT straight away.
That is true.
Tactical choice. Although when you see the Oracles here, maybe it wouldn't be a bad choice to warp in the DTs on the other side, right?
Yeah, probably
they
not.
have a detection.
They are the detection for the time being, but Astrea scouted it so early that if you're Neeb, I feel like you think, okay, you probably have an observer or something to account for it.
There's no way you don't expect him to not be ready, right?
Yeah. But Astrea probably partly relying on that as well. So now he's going to pull back the Oracles, but he didn't have detection had Neeb gone for it. Not available at home anyway.
Yep, he has the DT. He's going to wander across the map, so...
Do DTs activate traps?
No, because the trap can't see the DT, right? So it doesn't know to activate.
I didn't actually ever know that.
Yeah, I only know this because I've asked this question. Someone asked this question before.
Very cool.
Yeah, it makes sense, right? Like, how it would be kind of OP if the traps had detection.
It would be a little bit strange, yeah. You play enough interaction, or you play enough games that, you know, like, they kind of choose the rules arbitrarily somewhat, right? Like, in that type of exchange, it can get a little bit murky, so...
Yeah,
anything can go. But yeah, StarCraft, they chose not to have that interaction work that way. That's a lot of stalkers.
Yeah, these DTs need to start doing something because Neeb is kind of dead over here. So the DTs need to show up and either help defend or do some damage across the map or just anything.
Circles? I mean, how can you? Why are you attacking them with knowing that there is DTs or the capacity for them without the Oracle being present there, right? For Astrea, that seems. There's the Oracle now. Doesn't have the energy just yet. Now it should.
Yeah, this is an awkward little situation, isn't it? So, yeah, we buy a bit of time, but Neeb still doesn't have the army supply at the end of the day. He just doesn't have the units to defend this. Looks like Astrea has got plenty, although an extra Stalker warping in. Neeb is somehow defending for the moment. The probe is pulling, and I mean, the problem is losing the probes. I guess he can afford to lose a few.
Does he have another DT warping? I'm surprised that's not a DT that he's warping in. And on the other side, the DT is doing work as well. Super battery. And again, like if Neeb was paying attention, which he may not have been because it's a very chaotic game right now, but if he was paying attention, he should have noticed that was the last revelation that the Oracle had available. So there was a timing window. Now it should have another one just about. It does now. But, you know, like there's a timing window where I think you can warp in another DT one at a time. I mean, it's kind of like doing that against scans, right?
Yeah. No, I feel like he should just keep constantly warping in a DT here and forcing the Oracle to keep revelating. Immortal! Oh, no! That's just massive. That, right? Because if he recalled in range of the battery, that Immortal doesn't die straight away, and then that's obviously a much more playable situation. Neeb, still with the worker advantage, just pulling units forwards. That Immortal actually would have been better walking across. Obviously would have got there slower, but...
Yeah, for sure. The other option for Neeb there was to engage with the Stalkers as the Immortal was getting recalled, which obviously is not great because you're gonna take a disadvantageous fight. But then if your opponent shoots at the Immortal, you're getting free damage, at least out of your Stalkers. And if your opponent chooses to go for the Stalkers, at least your Immortal survives for considerably longer, if not the entirety of the fight. So I think that would have been a little bit better too. But yeah, I think the main thing, like you said, if the recall had been a little bit further back, that would have been ideal.
I mean, impressive that Neeb's staying alive, though, because I feel like in general, this was a tough situation to survive in. And yeah, just getting to stay alive, drawing this game out. Astrea definitely struggled a bit dealing with the DTs. And yeah, I do think I would have liked to have seen more DTs. Just he could have warped in two at the same time, sent one forward, Revelation goes off, then boom, the other one just gets free damage all the way throughout, right? Like, as long as it's not in the same Revelation. Because the Oracle needs to build up energy, so yeah, I do agree. There's a lot more potential there. This Wardy is playing with fire, walking back into that repeatedly.
Yeah, very, very scary indeed. Yeah, I love the point that you bring, right? Because it's not even like scans, which at least reveal the area for a given amount of time. It's just the one cast. So there was definitely a lack of casts there for Astrea. He had to really budget his energy on two fronts with just two Oracles that were already low on energy. So yeah, for sure. Could have been an option to warp in more DTs from Neeb. As Astrea is going to stabilize just fine, he is ahead in every regard right now, it feels like, and he is taking a fourth a little bit faster as well. So it will be difficult for Neeb to play this game from here on out.
Yeah, Neeb's advantage is what, like having the upgrade, and he's got a couple of immortals. I don't think that's enough for him to be moving across the map with, but here we go.
Yeah,
the upgraded
entries or something.
Disappear.
There's one sentry.
I don't know, man. I'm not really believing in it.
Yeah. I mean, the Guardian Shield can maybe do something. The Force Shield is the only thing that could give you a semblance of hope here, right? Like to create the terrain to take a really advantageous fight. But Astrea, I mean, he's really setting himself up for a win condition here. It feels like if he holds, he is going to just win the game outright after the damage that these Oracles continue to do here at 15, the kill tally.
Yep, just a lot of damage done, probably meaning that Neeb is more than ever in need of actually just probably committing, even though you probably can't commit. So then what do you really do? Well, you know, you got to pick one of the two evils in a way. He is going, you know, DT Blink, and oh yeah, I was going to say +2 as well on the way, but don't lose your mortals before then. He blinks forward, man. Neeb is really feigning a lot of power right now.
Yeah, I mean, the Astrea was on the retreat. He just wants to catch him unsuspecting, I guess, right? Like a lot of the time you just start retreating and you go do something else. So at this point, again, I think it's desperation more than anything else. It's not a good move, I agree. It's just that Neeb is looking for whatever edge because he should recognize just how far behind he is. So have to invite mistakes from your opponent as much as you can now.
Yep, no, absolutely. As Neeb will just pull back around the bottom side, get himself set up again, and set up to defend as well. I like what Astrea's doing. Robo Bay, second facility, move into disruptors, just continue to increase your tech and just to, you know, make things that's going to make the game more difficult for Neeb and give you a better guarantee of being able to close this game out, as he's going to come in his left-hand side. Obviously, when these L counts start to get higher, you would love to see Neeb having some Archons, but how does he afford that with the game that he's been playing? As he does have the good DT counterattack, though, and this is what Astrea invites himself to having happen when he's being aggressive like this. As recall, gets out all but one DT.
Okay, beautiful. Yeah, gets out with those DTs with the recall as well, so a nice minute here for Neeb, deflecting the aggression, doing a little bit of damage, deflecting also the run-by there that Niall was pointing to, as the cannon serves him well. And yeah, a little bit of a glimmer of hope, only 20 the supply difference. But, yeah.
I like the little Zell counterattacks from Astrea as well, though, so he is putting some pressure on of his own. He's forcing Neeb to also defend. We do, I mean, honestly, the Immortals go a long way in this, and right now, I guess only for a few more moments with the Wills +2 as well. Yeah, the Immortals, the Archon, I like it, but of course, like I say, the Disruptors really take the tech advantage away from Neeb and put it back in Astrea's hands.
Yeah, especially when the armies have grown to be this large, right? And Astrea is constantly pushing onto those chokes, and Neeb is kind of just de facto against the wall for this game, or this stage of it at least. Neeb has actually surpassed Astrea in terms of supply and army supply at this point. So that is kind of insane given how this game started and most of what we've seen on screen, but it is the Disruptors, like you said. That is the big X factor here for Astrea, and he's gonna get a very good position here to utilize them as an anchor.
Yeah, put himself in position. These Stalkers trying to figure out what they want to do. Disruptor shot doesn't quite reach. I mean, still, there's a lot of chunky units. If you can just take a straight-up fight, as you get rid of the Prism. Ooh, the Disruptor on that low ground was maybe in some trouble, but obviously Blink was already used. As the Disruptor from downtown connects. We can now get the kill, though.
Yeah, and it's 3 Stalkers for a Disruptor, so Neeb's not going to be too sad about that either, as he encroaches close to the max supply as well, and Astrea has maxed out, but just mostly on Stalkers, which is a little bit scary, like you said. I mean, those are more... Oh! Nice blink actually forward, and that's the which Astrea was aiming for. The rest of the Disruptors, however, there's no blink for those. So a huge couple of connections here on the side of Astrea are going to make it near impossible for Neeb to continue to take this engagement, especially if Astrea just buys time to going up his ramp right now. That's exactly what he's doing, waiting for the next set of disruptor shots. Neeb doesn't want that time to come into play. He will take down a Robo as he moves towards Astrea's 4th base. And Astrea is going to try to push up the ramp. Disruptor shots available on 4 of them now, with the 5th one just coming online as well. So Neeb is going to be forced to retreat. And yeah, I mean, Astrea will retain that tech lead that is really what is keeping him ahead in this game.
Yeah, Neeb just lost all of his tech units, right? Just all the Immortals and Archons. You can see on the Stokes blinked in, like, they took a lot of damage, but there's just no rebuilding those units quickly. Neeb now trying to go to disruptors of his own as he walks forwards there. He's going to try and make something happen here. Gets a kill, blinks out. Not bad, but obviously there's just a long way to go to kind of really draw yourself back into this fully. As Astrea's up at base, but Neeb's going to have the counterattack that hits a little bit sooner, and that's going to be Astrea having to play the responsive game. Recall is on cooldown, so he's not actually in position right now to utilize or defend against this, and Neeb's going to do pretty okay with this group of Stalkers. A little hit squad gets out alive with them as well. And like I said, it's exactly what you need to be doing as Neeb right now if you want to see some success, as he will recall a bunch of Stalkers home and finally just walk the rest home.
Yeah, I'm not sure that he needed to spend that recall for no reason. It feels like, but maybe he didn't know where his opponent was out on the map.
Yeah, well, he didn't know he'd recalled, right? So I think he thought he was getting, like, cornered in. But obviously just wasn't the case, because Astrea recalled but into the natural, which was kind of an odd recall point, so it makes sense that Neeb was a bit confused as to where things were.
That's very true.
Now, nice jump in here.
Yeah, this is really nice. I mean, you want every advantage that you can find right now. And remember, also Neeb in resetting those or killing both of those factories, both of those robots on the edges of the bases, that reset kind of Astrea as far as his continued production of disruptors, whereas Neeb has started 3 at a time. So Astrea has 2 robots on the way trying to replace those, but Neeb will start and begin to close the gap. He is already maxed, so once those 3 disruptors are on the field, I kind of start believing, I kind of start feeling like this is the most even point of the game thus far.
Yeah, no, I don't disagree. As this is going to be interesting, as Neeb's going to walk into these disruptors. Now he's going to have Stalkers. He gets massive shots off, and Neeb has another one with his own disruptors coming in for the first time. Now he's going to get overrun, though. He's got so many units in the bottom right. If he can get them here, there's only 2 disruptors of Astrea left. I felt like that was an amazing moment for Neeb, and honestly, probably could have had that. If his army from the bottom right started moving a moment sooner, he probably could have jumped on that army and won the fight completely. Wow, what a moment from Neeb, though. Huge disruptor shots, Astrea, a huge awakening there.
Yeah, I mean, insane shots from Neeb. Both, it's kind of like a double trouble type moment there, as the disruptors reveal themselves, like you said, for the first time and from the bushes, right? Like, very difficult for Astrea to anticipate and very little time to react because of the line of sight blockers there that the bushes provide. And now it's Neeb for the first time in the game. It feels like on the aggression justifiably. And Astrea is really going to struggle here. There is a disruptor shot coming online relatively soon, but does Neeb even need it? As Astrea is trying to flank with his own disruptors, but they're not intended to. And one of them will get picked off. The second one goes down as well, and Astrea is now falling apart very quickly. Things have turned, and Neeb looks like he wants to close this 3-0. Will he be able to, as the solid flank encroaches here? The next disruptor shot does get denied by Astrea as it gets killed in the nick of time, and he will get the cleanup eventually here. It looks like it is close, and I mean, if anything, this game at the very least resets, if not in favor of Neeb at this point.
Yeah, I think it definitely goes in favor of Neeb. There's a few DTs here, from Astrea actually as well, taken to the stage for the first time also. So I think that is also quite the factor right now. And it's just going to be seeing the army of Astrea setting up again on the right side. That was a wild couple of moments, wasn't it? And yeah, just Astrea having a really bad start to the fight and just really, persisted as being a horrible fight. Disruptor count's about even. Stalker count's a little bit favorable towards Neeb. Very close game. Neeb needs to blink away. And that disruptor, I swear, died after the shot. That was wild.
Yeah, it felt like it. Yeah. As I replay it in my head, it does feel like that, yeah.
Yeah. I was convinced that it had missed, and then it died. I was like, what? That's disruptor lag. It's like, lag, bro. What the hell?
Yeah, that was odd to say the least. As now Neeb is taking a little bit of a setup there with cannons and shield batteries on the top left-hand side of the map, or in the middle left-hand side. Astrea, though, finally with a little bit of a punch of his own. It's going to be DTs trying to get rid of those cannons for the vision, and then try to continue to strike. Their Neeb is going to be forced to recall. Is there an observer on location? It looks like not, so he misclicked the recall onto, or misclicked not getting the observer, right, which was there on site with the rest of his army, and Now Neeb struggling a little bit thanks to these DTs from Astrea. It feels like the game is beginning to swing in his favor once again.
Yep, the momentum just swings one way, then the other, kind of on repeat at the moment. Yep, yeah, big counter attack doing a lot of damage right now, so Neeb actually getting a lot of probes, and oh my god, what is this gonna be?
Wow.
It's massively in favor of Neeb. He gets that disruptor as well. And now, does he have the numbers to keep going? I think the problem is he doesn't have a way to deal with the Zealots, but he can warp in his own Zealots to create the same issue for Astrea in this army fight. So exactly what we're going to be seeing is just going to see Zealot Stalker going up the right-hand side and chasing after more Stalkers.
Oh, wow. Yeah, and the DTs did great for Astrea, but the Zealots of Neeb on the other side completely cleaned out Astrea's 5th base. They're on the top. The 12 o'clock, I guess, or near it. Now the DTs are going to come back to backstab a little bit more. Neeb will warp in units. Needs a cannon there, but an observer is quick to the job, at least for the time being. And the DTs are going to try to blink out, but the Stalkers also have their own blinking too. I would love for Neeb with the larger army on location here to break those rocks for the flank. Astrea looking for very good shots. We'll find one onto the last remaining disruptor of Neeb, and now his army's up against the wall. There is one more shot that could be absolutely nasty from Astrea.
Oh, that wasn't so bad. There was a good blink direction from Neeb. There's so many more disruptors just showing up. And I feel like you need the disruptors to need to be able to blink on top of those disruptors. Neeb still has overall an army supply lead.
Oh no.
Yeah.
He's still, I mean, nice flank from Neeb, but 5 of those Stalkers on the side get clipped by the disruptor, and the rest kind of get just segregated by the disruptor shots, which don't land, but make it so that Astrea can take 2 isolated fights, one with a larger army against the reinforcements of Neeb. Here come Neeb's own disruptors looking for this Astreas. They will find one of them, but they were looking for 3 in an ideal world, and now it's Neeb at 92 supply to Astrea's 118. I mean, it's not looking too great for Neeb, especially if this base falls. It's going to be very difficult for him to recover, so he'll pull his 3 probes to see if they can aid in the fight. The answer is not going to be it's going to be no for this one, and Neeb will tap out. What an exciting back and forth game there.
Absolute madness, man. Astrea, I actually really thought Neeb had brought it back completely as well, but
he did.
Able to turn it around at the end. So GG's, well played. I'm just going to be seeing a series that gets to continue on, Cats, which we weren't really sure about going into that one. So
yeah,
that's how we get it.
Yeah, I mean, it really looked like Astrea was in a prime position to close out that game early, but Neeb, like you said, bringing himself back. I mean, looking like the better player for a good portion, and then it felt like Astrea started waking up again, right? And he had very good moves of his own. Started harassing a little bit more with the DTs, getting those flanks, getting those very good disruptor shots, being a little bit patient with them, not just throwing caution to the wind. And yeah, he does the job. He will take a map and looking for a counter sweep, a reverse sweep.
Yeah. Obviously Astrea had a really good opening in that game though, right? Like the Nexus went down, he went unpunished. I have to say that honestly, the way the game played out, I really still prefer Neeb because it felt like Neeb was much more convincing for the rest of the game, almost turned it around, brought it back completely as well.
Yeah.
I just really felt like Astrea was obviously like really leaning heavily on the advantage he created early, and there's nothing wrong with that, but if this game opens evenly and plays out like this, I feel like Neeb is going to be in a stellar position because he's so far, I feel like, playing the slightly better StarCraft today.
Yeah, I completely agree. I mean, for the majority of the game to recover, that was a very impressive feat for Neeb, but at least glimmers of hope from Astrea on the recovery. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Hells yeah.
Absolutely.
And in the top right-hand side, it is for Onside Gaming. Neeb.
In the bottom left, representing Alpha Rex, Astrea.
Okay, Gateway Scouts, the most standard opening perhaps in PvP these days. Actually, Astrea, not quite scouting, but going into the high ground to see if Neeb is scouting or not. He will see the pro pathing. Let's see what this leads to. This is pretty cute. So he knows that Neeb is scouting. What do you do with that?
Yeah. Is the plan just to have a probe on the map? So
I don't know.
Yeah,
I have no idea.
I maybe like Astrea counts the probes and it's a fake, or I don't really know. Like, are we overthinking it?
Oh, no. He wants to drop this. He wants to sneak the Nexus, perhaps? No, he's just going to drop a Cybercore.
Yeah. So you build a Cybercore without Astrea assuming there's a probe? I just don't understand what you need to sneak it for.
I guess if Astrea really knows the timing exactly on this map, you could, from the timing, induce that was a gateway on the low ground and then just, basically have scouted without scouting. But what I don't love about this is you kind of give Neeb the opportunity to drop the Nexus on the other side. But he's going for a proxy now. I imagine a proxy robo given the location. So it's kind of interesting. It could be a Stargate too, right? It's kind of a neutral location.
Yeah, it could be a Stargate.
Oh, yeah.
There we go. Yeah, I mean, makes sense, right? You can go straight up into the main base from there and stuff, so... Neeb just taking that faster expansion, and we'll be working on that. So if Neeb can deflect the Stargate pressure, he'll take a similar situation to what Astrea had in the last game. But that's obviously a big question mark. As a second gate initially from Neeb, so he's going to focus on getting unit production up. Astrea builds a pylon in the front. He could be going for the Void Ray and just going for the pylon, and you build batteries here, right? And you just basically try and control and lock down your opponent's natural expansion. That could be the play, is, Stalker going to chase that Zealot down, and the probe is all the way up in the main base. Don't think it would get down to the low ground unless you let it.
Oh, very
cute. You're going to
probe.
hit the Stalker.
Yeah, it's trying to block the Stalker so that the Zealot can do damage. Accomplishes its job partially. Yes, here comes the Adept. The pylon is up, which makes sure that the Adept goes in, and this Adept does have potential to one-shot, I think, a couple of those probes perhaps. So they have now regenerated most of their shields. So here comes Neeb now with the next Adept to chase the Adept. Gonna make it very difficult for Astrea to disengage as well as from the Stalker. I think this Adept is probably doomed as his next Adept will also arrive. Shades on into the main base, but there's a Stalker that should be spawning there pretty soon for Neeb, so he can just rally that back to defend. Instead, he's gonna rally it forward, which is a little bit surprising. Astrea might find himself another drone or another probe for his troubles. Not gonna be the case this time around. Let's see what the Oracle can find next.
Yeah, battery's already in the main, so you're really looking at the natural to be able to deal damage here, right? He's going to loop the long way around, which is fine. I don't think that makes much difference. But obviously right now, all the Stalkers are in the natural, so you really gain much from that? I feel like not really.
Astrea knows that too. Yeah, but it's the only angle that he could try. So if he gains a probe or two, that's the best that he could have hoped for, and the best that you can hope for is sometimes the best that you can get. So he gets it, gets the one probe. And that's something, but actually Neeb with brilliant positioning of his Stalker is going to catch this Adept on the attempt at retreating.
It'd be nice to get that, but obviously still just nice to bring it low, if nothing else. They both stop Blink at the same time, but Neeb's just up 5 workers, double army supply. I mean, yeah, this is what I mean. Just Neeb just had to defend the pressure, and he really did a fantastic job of it, taking very minimal damage, taking a couple probes now, but if that's all he's going to take, then he's absolutely A-okay for this game for now, and set up in a great position.
Yeah, and it's a little bit sad because Astrea had an opportunity to go into the main with both Oracles, but it's impossible to know that because one of his Oracles had already lost all of its shields. He didn't want to wait for the shields to regenerate before engaging with the other one. So what he does instead is he goes towards the natural, but now the Oracles are separated, right? And that's a little bit annoying for Astrea, who would otherwise be have a much easier time in one-shotting those probes in the main or natural. So the Oracles will continue to be separated there.
Yep. Just not going to be finding too much, although Astrea is only 3 workers behind now. Dark Shrine from Neeb, who is obviously really hoping that he can keep those Oracles busy and tempt them to stay across the maps so the DTs can get in with limited protection available to work against them.
Yeah, he's going to be clearing this pylon now. Astrea is coming, however, with 3 Stalkers of his own, and they're bunched up as opposed to Neeb's, which are just kind of all over the place. So Neeb is going to regroup and go up his ramp as he takes this 3rd base. But Astrea is right behind him on that front. So Astrea not really falling as far behind as you would have expected him to. He still has the Oracles to work with. And it's a workable position. Can he deflect the DTs though?
Yeah, I mean, the Oracles obviously both kind of not really stuck, but still committed, kind of like nearby the mineral lines. So that could be where you maybe do well with the DTs. The problem is the DT has to walk all the way across the map, right? So it's going to be a little while to hit, although it's not like Astrea's getting anything back at home to defense. That DT definitely can cause some chaos, Cats. It's actually looking pretty good.
All right, so that is a little bit of a glimmer of hope for Neeb here. Let's see what he can accomplish. Astrea has done a good job of stabilizing from an early game where he did a little bit of damage here and there, but actually the Stalker perfectly placed, the DT trying not to reveal itself, but Neeb clearly aware as he recalls with, I imagine, the oracles to make sure that they can be, you know, the DTs can be tagged, exactly what's going to happen there, and the Stalkers will take him down. The next DT here, available to try and make something happen, but plenty of energy on the oracles.
Gives Neeb a bit of freedom to get on the map, but obviously DTs are quite the investment, so you are losing out here. Now Neeb needs to start getting out of there. He's going to get chased down. I mean, he's massively outnumbered when it comes to the Stalkers. He trades okay-ish, but not exactly ideal, I guess. It's just not a fight he wanted to be in.
Yeah, exactly. Like, the fight was never going to favor him, but as far as the fight goes, I mean, he might have lost one more Stalker. It could have been much worse, I think, is what we're trying to get at. So, gets home relatively unscathed, but after that investment on the DTs, 2 of them fall for free. The Dark Shrine was also an investment in and of itself, and that means Astrea is going to take a small lead in this game.
Yeah. As you see, the Oracles are going to retake a position at the top, wait for an opportunity. He still has a worker lead, so Astrea getting forward for a couple kills here is nice. He just has more army supply still, so Neeb got to be a little bit careful. Got to be very good with the blink control here. He does get rid of an Oracle. That's obviously great. Just makes it a little bit less possible for Astrea to continue dealing damage as this game continues, as Neeb's defense still looks good over on this side.
Yeah, confident enough to drop a Nexus, knowing that he will be able to chase those Stalkers out. So, yeah, confidence in his position at this point from Neeb, even though the supplies are pretty much even, 60 workers to 57. Army supply also very similar. Upgrades favoring Neeb a little bit, but there's not going to be too big of a window. Also will come down to things like the Chrono Boost, I suppose. And Astrea does have the faster charge, so if Neeb chooses to get a little bit over aggressive, if Astrea can kind of like hit with enough charge slots before Neeb is expecting it, and there's enough of a leash for the charge slots to kind of chase the Stalkers, if there's open ground, that's where it could be really dangerous for Neeb. Otherwise, I think he will have the stronger timings to work with moving on forward. Oh,
no.
That's big too.
Yeah, the only good part of this is that he didn't blink into it, right? So then he can blink out the moment these Stalkers get unstuck. So usually you see, like, if you blink in, the blink cooldown gets paused, so then you lose those units.
Chasing far.
Yeah,
I wonder if as Neeb, you just go for the counter offense there with those Stalkers now.
Yeah, maybe, and just try and make your best defense at home, or you can just recall them, and then it's honestly not so bad for him, right? Like, yeah.
So I almost wish for the counter offense if he thought he could hold, but maybe he thought he couldn't, and he, I mean, he was probably right about it, right? Like, but yeah, with your Stalkers already there in position and you still holding that high ground, maybe if the shield battery can buy you some time, maybe you can do a little bit of damage on the mineral line or deny or the latest base and then recall. Not sure. I think recall was the safe option, no doubt about it.
Deja vu. I've seen this DT walk up this ramp before.
Yeah.
Walks up, gets a probe. Out over this right-hand side. There's a cannon here, so DT doesn't really want to do much, but it's nice to keep on checking, right? Just look for the opportunities, try and find the chances. That's how you get... that's how you get to be successful in the end, typically.
Yeah, that's how you get rewarded. You need to gather that information and then use the information to your advantages. Neeb will have the faster +2, so he has retained about the same lead that he had on the +1, meaning both players are just keeping on track with their upgrades since. And he is confident enough to move out on the map. A few of those Stalkers, like we just saw on the minimap, were off base for Astrea. Upgrades are going to be even here, and with the shield battery and the cannon to work with, as well as the surface area and potentially the probes getting involved, Neeb doesn't want a fight just yet.
It feels like recently, though, Neeb's supply is kind of snowballing a little bit, just really kind of going high. And Neeb's just straight back in, and Astrea left to go across the map. Okay, base trade time, because Astrea's not turning around at all. I like this for Neeb straight away. He's close to +2. Right, he's got more army on the map to begin with. Astrea is instantly supply blocked. I mean, Neeb is now, as he loses a few probes, maybe not so badly. He's gonna have Astrea recalling home. But that wasn't all of Astrea's army. Honestly, Neeb could probably do okay here. There's no battery here either, Cats.
And Astrea is looking for a sandwich here, so Neeb might have done better to take that fight. However, a Planking Immortal is gonna help Neeb's case here. And now with the blink forward onto the army of Astrea, which seemingly has already blinked because he's not blinking to get away, Neeb is going to take good trades against that half. So it's going to end up working out. The supply still favors him. Bases are going to favor Neeb as well, as he was quicker to the 4th base to replace the potential 4th base that he expected he might be losing. Doesn't want to go back up this ramp. He would do well to check the base that he just took down, but I
Yeah.
understand he wouldn't because you just took it down. So yeah, fair enough.
Trading well with the the +2 attack advantage as well for sure. He's gonna stay aggressive, man. He clearly feels like he's got a bit of an advantage. Clearly feels these fights are going well enough, but the concave is good for Astrea. It makes it difficult to commit to attacking in there. It's just gonna be Neeb pulling back one more time.
Yeah, I mean, he could do a crazy blink and then have the immortal add-on damage, but very difficult to do without full vision, right? Like, cause I think there might be zealots warped in the back or something of the sorts, and then you're in trouble. But Neeb might go for it. He is gonna go for the crazy blink forward. I absolutely love it. I mean, it's mostly stalkers. The immortals this way will be able to get involved right away. And now Neeb with a larger concave, he will startle Astrea. In spite of Astrea having that observer, the immortals do get left to their own devices there, and die they will, as Astrea has an immortal of its own. Here come charge shots on the side of Neeb as he blinks forward to get rid of the immortal itself. Things are looking crazy.
Wow. What a brave blink from Neeb, really confident in his decision. And obviously with Zealots just kind of trickling in from across the map, he's able just to keep on tanking enough of the shots to keep the lead in his favor. And he really just wants to get rid of this fourth base again, right? I mean, right now it's not even mining from Astrea, so it's not exactly like it's an ideal situation for him anyways. Neeb could kill it off, and even better. Neeb sees where these units are. He's going to position himself. This time he should have the concave for this fight, which is something that Astrea's had in a few of the previous fights, and Neeb still did okay using the Zealots to tank. He really just wants to get the Nexus. He will have it. And he might just be able to take the fight anyways. He's going to blink forward. He says, yes, I can. The Zealots are doing well. The probes pull in, and I love the probe pull because they are just so good against Stalkers. But the probes are going to die, and Neeb actually has reinforcements still appearing. It looks as though Neeb has the advantage nonetheless. Nice immortal.
Flank, though, not be intended to it. Maybe outside of Neeb's field of vision there on his screen because it did so much damage and it doesn't even get focused or taken down. However, Neeb's own immortal is going to show up to try to turn the tides. What an insane game. I mean, just the players deciding, you know what, I'm just going Stalker, and the other one goes, you know what, I'm gonna also just go Stalkers, and then they're like, let's sprinkle in some immortals since we are just going Stalkers.
Yep, as that Stalker's gonna come down, Robo Facility gonna take a few shots, is gonna get picked off. Observer, I was building there, gets tonight, so maybe Neeb access towards some DTs again. Obviously no guarantee that he knows there's an observer or not, but man, I mean, Astrea's on the counter attack, but again, Neeb just has more, so his attacks are just going to be that much more effective, that much more meaningful. This is a really important base of Astrea, and he's already got another base on the right side. Like, he's set up so much better for any kind of base trade scenario here.
Yeah, starting with the starting action, right? Like, he gets to actually start attacking Astrea faster, which means you have more time to work with before your opponent starts equalizing. Those probes are going to go to the main and likely be recalled to that new base that you were talking about that Neeb is trying to situate. So, yeah, let's see what he is able to do here. He needs to protect some of those probes as Astrea continues to push on forward. Neeb on the other side, he will take the base of Astrea himself. I do like Astrea's commitment for kind of like the production facilities. He will be able to depower Neeb a little bit faster than Neeb is able to depower him. But Neeb does have some room to wiggle as far as the army supply, as he has 78 to 53. So Astrea needs these warpins desperately. Neeb needs to cut off the blood supply.
Neeb just stands here and fights, right? This recall in is not going to give you a good position. You're obviously in the worst setup with the Nexus working against you. So Astrea taking a worse fight with worse army supply. Probes just can't get into the fight. And obviously, you have to fight, but he can't fight. GG's, Neeb wins.